Well, what have you been up to lately? I feel like it's been a little bit, but I always feel like it's always
It feels
forever.
like it's been forever. I was just thinking that. I was like, when we don't record for like more than a week, have like withdrawals.
Yeah, yeah, it's always weird. Like, what has Melanie been doing? Like, where is she at? What is happening?
I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you, last week I kind of gave myself the week off and like just kind of caught up with a bunch of friends IRL.
Nice. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw. Did you take the bus, the train? Where
The
you said you were
tram. I
going to
took
see
the tram
Katya?
to go see God Katya in the city. Um, it's just really nice. Like, I think, yeah, I've been working hard, and I think sometimes it's like so important when you like invest so much time in this to like do the things outside of it that spark joy and kind of remind me why I'm chasing this as a career in the first place. Because I love the potential balance it affords doing this as a career. And like, yeah, I can see it all, like I can see it being quite magical in the right balance of things. But yeah, sometimes when you're working for your, like from home for yourself, whatever, you can kind of fall into the rut of just like working, 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 working until something happens. And I'm doing inverted commas if you're only listening, because the thing is, in publishing, that's like a grim trap to fall into because everything takes so fucking long. If you just like giving yourself permission to rest when something happens, um, you're not gonna have balance. And so yeah, kind of Sandra told me not to rush with getting my Swampy Princess revision done. And so I was like, well, then why am I rushing myself?
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, in hustle mode for whatever reason.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, Beesh, calm down. Um, and so in the same week when I was like entering that mindset, it was just kind of like aligned right that like kind of all my close friends in or like the people I actually want to see were kind of
Yeah.
like chasing me up for a catch up. So I kind of saw more people in one week than I would see in like months usually. But it was glorious. It was the people I want to see. And yeah, we went and saw they did this Avatar. They had like a live band playing all the music from Avatar Last Airbender. And
That's
then they
cool.
kind of had like it's like this whole thing. Like sometimes they do it by candlelight and whatever. And I've seen them advertised before, but never been to one. And Phil's brother and his girlfriend, they like took us out to go. We didn't even know what we were going to see. They like left it a surprise. And I walked into this massive theater, like huge, like concert level. And then, yeah, they had up on the screen like kind of key parts of Avatar, and then this huge live band playing like iconic music that was either in it or based on it. It was like, honestly, like I fucking laughed. I cried. The vibes of that crowd, the vibes of a Last Airbender crowd, I can't explain. It was like a religious moment for me. That's my religion, Avatar Last Airbender.
It's
Um,
good.
yeah, just chill. So stuff like that, and then I don't know what else. Editing the pod, cooking more. We got all our blood work done and all our like general tests, and I have a fatty liver, and Phil has high cholesterol.
Oh no. Welcome to the club, Phil.
Yeah.
Welcome to the high cholesterol club.
Yes, I've been cooking a lot more. Because they recommended like a Mediterranean diet. And I was like, bitch, I grew up eating that. I just have to cook the shit I grew up eating, and stop ordering so much pizza. So there's a new regime in the Schubert house. We've got to like keep our fatty liver and our cholesterol in check. But yeah, other than that, we're both feeling a bit sorry for ourselves.
It just sneaks up on you, you know?
Girl, it
You're just
sneaks
out
up on
here
you.
living life, and then boom,
Yeah,
fatty liver.
I know. I know. The doctor wasn't too concerned, but I was still like, fuck.
Yeah, but I mean,
Let's not
it's
get it
always
to the.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she wasn't not concerned. She's just like, it's not at like a concerning point.
You're like,
But
it's
let's not
concerning
let
to
it get.
me. Yeah.
Anyway, how have you been? How's your cholesterol?
It's no, it's I need to get back on it as well because I was doing like really well for a while. I was
Yeah.
walking every day, watching what I was eating, like watching what has high cholesterol.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
but then I don't remember what I did or why I stopped. Maybe I got sick for this is a while ago,
Oh,
and
you
then I
got
just never.
COVID.
Oh yeah, and then I just never went back
Oh.
to my healthy regime. So I just was like, eh. So I need to get back to it. I need to get on my healthy girl regime and walk
Yes.
and watch my whatever fatty foods, my sausages. I love me a sausage.
Yeah, you do.
I really do though. I really love sausage.
I think the doctor actually spooked Phil because he's like been getting up and dancing with me and Goose to like be more active. Which he'd always
Good.
dance with us occasionally, but I see he's taking it more serious. Because I always use my dancing time with Goose as like a time to get my like get the blood pumping. It will be like I'll be sweating by the end. And like before he'd kind of just like join in just for fun. But now I see he's like also like if you could put a camera on the two of us while we're like doing our like dancing to WAP,
Yes.
but yeah, we live and learn. The doctor did a good job scaring him, so and as they should. Yeah.
Yes. No, we all need to get back in our healthy girl era because and especially like as writers
That's it, because
and
we
doing these
sit so
things.
much.
Oh my God, we sit so much and I feel it too. Like if I don't get out and move, like I become so grouchy.
Same.
Um and I haven't done it for a while, so I guess I'm really grouchy. So it all makes sense why I'm a
You're
bitch.
right though, it creeps up on you. Yeah, it does creep up on you, like some of this stuff. So anyway, I'm just cooking there's been a lot of beans, which has resulted in a lot of toots in this house. Nobody wants to walk into this house right now. I've had beans for the last fucking 3 meals. And the other day, I had beans with like fried red onion and goat's cheese. Girl,
Oh man.
that was
Oh,
a
you.
punishing blend on the other end.
Oh my God. Woo! I can smell it from here. I'm
It
getting
was
whiffs.
like the pits of the demon lords. I'm not gonna like, there's no sugarcoating that, but beans are high in fiber.
We must eat our beans.
I know. But how have you been
Gotta
otherwise?
do it. I've been good. I'm good. Well, I mean, actually, not good, Melanie. Not
Yeah,
good. I lost my project,
I know.
and I don't know if I don't know if we talked
I
about this
don't
on the
think we
pod.
talked about it on the pod.
Gosh darn it, guys. So I don't know. I did an update on my computer
Mm.
into Sequoia, whatever the hell, okay, on my MacBook Air. And then like a little bit after that, my Wi-Fi would just cut me off like at random times. And and so I was like, "Oh, hello?" Sir.
Mhm.
So I was like trying all these things myself and normally I have like all of my projects go to the cloud, like as backup.
Yeah.
And I know like a lot of stuff that I have like in the works that I've sent to people, so I knew like a lot of my stuff was in emails. Um so when I brought it to the geniuses at Apple, they're like, "Hey, I think we need to like factory reset your computer. Basically, like we need to wipe everything out and try the update again." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's fine. Everything should be backed up." And it was not, in fact, backed up because my Wi-Fi wasn't working. So
No.
the stuff I had just worked on, my short story for Jingle These Bells and like a few other little things, they didn't get backed up to the cloud.
Mm.
And so I lost them and I was very sad. Like when I got home, and like started uploading all my like apps and everything back onto the computer, and I could not find my short story that I had just finished.
Mm.
And it was probably just the best thing I've ever written. No, not really.
Yeah.
But it was rough, but it was finished. And
Yeah.
I love a good finished project. So but when I saw it, I could not find it anywhere. And
Mm.
my stomach, like I felt physically ill. And I haven't felt that like sort of like stomach drop moment maybe since like the election.
Mm.
But like it was that like just shock of like, oh, it's
Yeah.
really gone. Like it is nowhere to be found. It is wiped off the planet. And like I still have hopes it's there somewhere,
Yeah.
but it's not, Melanie. It's gone.
Even the
She's gone.
geniuses couldn't recover it.
No, because it was like they had even like made me sign a waiver like,
Oh
hey,
no.
like this is gonna be really gone. Like we're wiping this bitch. Um,
Oh my God.
yes. So this last week, like I was trying to like tap into that,
Yeah.
trying to work on it, like do little chunks, but it was so like depressing that I
Mm.
was like, ah, I can't like focus right now.
That's fair.
Um, but like I'm about 75% finished with
Yeah,
the
you are.
new version, and she's gonna be fine. We're gonna get there. Um, because it was all in my head still anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're getting there. I'm chunking it out, and I'm not too worried about like getting it perfect. Like, because I know there's time.
You'll
Like,
make
you know
it
what I mean?
perfect in revisions. And like I
Yeah,
said to you, like, I think don't underestimate what a great writer you are. Like, any iteration of that story you give us is gonna be fun and hot to read because you will be aiming for fun and hot every time you write it. And every time you'll give us, I think you could write that same story 100 times and make it fun and hot and slightly different every time. So whatever version you give us, it's going to be glorious. But
thank you.
also, like, you're allowed your moment of grief, because in the writer community, that's the equivalent of murder, what happened to you. Like,
Yeah,
I'm just,
it was.
it is. I felt
Yes.
sick for you, and I was just hoping as well. Now that you've told me the full story and the geniuses did the factory reset, I think we have to let it go.
Yeah, she's gone. She's
She's
gone.
gone.
But it's okay. It's true. Like I'll get there, and
Exactly.
it's fun and hot, like you said. So, he's still a hot, abominable snow monster.
I can't
Um,
wait.
yeah, I changed his name because I know we spoke about like his name ideas, and I was like, no, I have to change it, and so I changed it. And so I don't know.
Are we
We can
allowed to
talk about
know?
it.
Let's talk
I think
about
so.
it. Come
Okay, yeah.
on. Get the people
So
excited.
thank you. I will. Okay, so because it's Jingle Bells is our theme. Like that's Christmas Jingle Bells. So that's be Jingle Bells. And so she hears the song Jingle Bells as she's driving into this Christmas tree farm. And there's a lot to it, but his name is Dashing, like dashing through the snow, in Jingle Bells. So I'm tying it all back. So he's an abominable snow monster. um he's his face is human, but like his hair is all white. He's got white brows, glowing blue eyes. His arms and legs are like white hairy clawy things, but he's got a torso of a man, and so that's
Oh,
Dashing.
I'm so ready to meet Dashing. And in case
So
you're
dumb.
tuning into this episode fresh and haven't heard some of our others, we are, of course, talking about our spicy Christmas anthology that we will be releasing at the end of this year together with Tides Collide Publishing. Jingle These Bells, our slutty Christmas anthology, and this is Angela's story, which I have been dying to read. My body is ready for dashing. I'm ready for the tree farm. And very excitingly, we closed to submission. I'm excited that we closed to submissions because now we get to dive in and read all these amazing entries in the next couple weeks.
Yes, this is so fun. I wasn't sure like how it was going to go as far as entries went, but like the entries came,
They
and so
came.
like they came, and so I'm pumped. Like Melanie and I are gonna try and work through them and then
Yeah.
figure out where to go from there. But like some of our friends of the show, friends that have been on the show, um, have have trusted us with their stories. No name. I'm not naming names, but
No.
either way, I'm so excited to like do this thing and like
Yeah.
let our friends be a part of this thing where we're all publishing these wild short stories.
Yes.
It's gonna be fun.
I might name drop one of our invited authors now who's submitted a piece, which is our dear friend Katya de Bessera, who traditionally writes horror. But let me tell you, listeners, her slutty anthology piece is glorious. All good things. So I'm
Yes.
really excited for reading all the others because, yeah, honestly, it's just been the most fun. And I've been delighted to hear from like everyone that I've chat with so far who's like either written a piece or like been invited that this has kind of been like so much fun for them and kind of like, you know, uh, I don't know, I guess jogged their writer muscle in other ways that maybe they didn't expect. And that just makes me so fucking happy because I know with like the Castle of Horror anthology, like that was a critical point for me. Sometimes get doing these anthologies, like from the fun part aside, but sometimes these little bite-sized pieces that you write can just like stop you from falling into like just an abyss of like a mega project.
Yes. Yes. And like having these short stories, especially like in this particular genre, which is like
Mm.
uh what is this genre? What are we calling this? Is it just like smut?
Santa Smart.
Santa smut? Holiday cheer.
Holiday erotica.
Yes, dare I say. Like this genre, which we've read in Santa Claus is Going to Town on Me, like it's so fun. You know, and like the more zany you get with your storyline and
Mm.
like what's happening, the better. And I think readers are just expecting that sort of like zany or hotness, but it's also an anthology, so it's going to be different. Everybody's story is going to be so different. So I think it's super fun to like work those writer
Yeah,
chops in a whole new way and like
exactly.
allow yourself to go wild. I know a few submissions are planning on using pen names.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it's fair. It's very fair. So yeah, I'm excited to start reading probably maybe tonight for me,
Yeah,
maybe in
I'm
the
ready to
morning.
go. But yeah, I think I don't know about you, but I feel excited by the possibility. Like if things go well this year, I can't see why we wouldn't just maybe do it
Just keep
again
going.
next year.
Yeah.
Just keep going because like it really is a lot of fun. Like even just dreaming up the scheme and like as soon as you start dreaming the scheme, you have new ideas and yeah, I honestly think it could be something, especially like going parallel with our Spicy Book Club, which listeners, if you haven't heard yet, we've had a new Spicy Book Club episode drop with two very short stories that we read. And we apologize in advance for the chaos of that episode. We battled bad internet, Angela's possessed computer. There was
It's
a lot
true.
going on, but we still got there. So please join us for that episode while we
Yes.
read The Trees in the Forest Had Wood, and it was all for me. And I kissed a gay half alpaca, half octopus alien from Mars, and I liked it. Wait, okay, this is a perfect segue into my next thing that I wanted to bring up with you. Because speaking of that title, which is obviously a pun on another song, I Kissed a Girl and I Liked It, which leads me to my next thought of the day, which is consuming me. Because I thought it was just some kind of promo album cover post, right? Oh, you already know. You already know.
I
You're
think I
in
know where you're
pain.
going.
You're in pain. I have to take my glasses off for this moment because I have been down a rabbit hole. Because once I realized that it was not an album cover, not a TikTok, it was in fact the Katy Perry shooting off into space in a custom made Luxury brand. Well, luxury brands is a whole other topic we might touch on. A luxury brand body space suit, and off she went into space with a collection of other immaculately made up women.
Yeah.
Um, so tell me, you've obviously seen this news as well. It's
Yes.
it's not
Yes.
a joke. Well, I mean, it is a joke. Um, do you have feelings about this? Because
Melanie,
I'm reeling that this is a fucking fact.
like every single day, I swear, I feel like we're living in the Hunger Games more
Girl.
and more, where like it's all of this like ridiculous costume and theatrics and just zaniness, but it's real life. And
Mm-hmm.
it's the weirdest thing. Did you see the rocket that they shot up
Girl.
in?
I have seen that rocket many places and none of them were space. I just, oh my God, like it's such an asinine publicity stunt. It's so obvious
Yes.
to anyone with a brain. There was, it's not the feminist flex they thought it was. Feminists don't fucking want this shit.
Yeah.
Feminists just want fucking bodily autonomy, my God. Like, like, can
Yes.
we start with the basics? It's not the flex they thought it was. It's not like, wow, women in space. It's like, wait, this fucking rich billionaire who just wanted to flex his money put these princesses on a fucking spaceship and shot them up there looking like models. Like, that's not a feminist moment to celebrate. Personally, I just have a lot of feelings about it.
Yes. Well, yes. So many feelings. Yeah, like while they're in space, they're not even looking out at space. They're like looking in the camera, having weird moments, like chanting, take up space.
Oh my
Um,
God, I didn't see that.
oh my gosh. It is such a weird thing because where was all of these, where's the celebration of just women who are
Mm,
literally astronauts, who are in the NASA program, who are these badass geniuses that are doing the work. Um, it's
decades of
Yeah,
work and like patriarchal oppression to get anywhere in those industries, is my guess. And
yes.
then these bitches got shot up into space in a very like in a giant dildo, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they really and truly thought that this was going to be such a like powerful moment, but I don't think they understand the state of the world we're living in at this moment, especially here in the States, where
Mm,
we're watching billionaires take over everything.
mm,
And here we are, so many people are worried about finances. They're losing their entire retirements because the stock
mm.
market's crashing. And yet these billionaires are spending funds to shoot their asses into outer space. And it's like, it makes me kind of just like,
It'd
I
be
don't know what to
funny
say.
if it was, it'd be funny if it wasn't so fucked up.
Yeah, it legit feels like it should be on an episode of The Simpsons or
Yeah,
South Park. I'm sure it will be.
it
I'm
will.
pretty sure it will be. But yeah, we're living in the weirdest times. But I think I've said that since 2020. So I don't know. I think we're just times are just getting weirder. Yeah, I don't know.
Yes. I'm sorry to bring it up if it was triggering, but it's been buzzing around my head. And I'm just like, sometimes we have to talk about it too, because I just feel like anyone thinking, like, yeah, I don't know, the lies are just so obvious at this point. I would really like kind of question people still like believing it. Like that tariff
Yeah,
shit has been wild to watch. Like, and
yeah,
that whole, like, the whole setup of that, of like that, it was basically like a game where Trump like posted that tweet and then changed it 5 seconds later. Like, it is blowing my mind that this shit is actually unfolding.
yeah, yeah. Mine as well. For many of us, for many people, it's not surprising at all because
Mm,
but no, it's a weird, scary time
mm,
because we're we're seeing this person like come into power even more.
Mm.
than before.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so there's so many like scary, awful things happening. Um, and I think we're just all watching it unfold. But then also, I don't know what we're seeing at this point anymore.
Mm.
Thank goodness for social media.
Mm.
Otherwise, I feel like half of us in the world would have no freaking clue. We're just living our lives without even seeing what's really happening beyond our
Yeah.
own little bubble.
That's fucking facts. And like that's the thing, like the one thing I will say is it's like encouraging to see the people standing up and hear the like resounding voices of truth that just like like every now and then you'll see something and I'll just get chills and I'm like, ah, there's the voice of truth. It's not dead. It's just it's in a battle, locked in a battle with all this shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I don't forget. I don't even know like what to
Mm.
think or do or say anymore.
I just
Yeah.
I had to fucking bring up Katy Perry because it's I just think everyone needs to see that because anyone with a brain in their head should look at that and go, what the fuck at this point.
Yes. What I think is so interesting is like seeing the comments on posts about the rocket ship, and people are like, "Okay, what's really happening in this world? Like, what's going on? Like, why are they trying to have us focus on this one thing? What else is going on besides that?" And not to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I don't trust. I don't trust. I don't trust nothing that's going
No, no,
on.
that's
So,
valid.
what is going on?
Mm, you're
I
very
don't
right.
know. I don't know.
No, I know. But
Yeah.
speaking of what is going on, I see we're down to 6 minutes, so I want to read what is going on today on the podcast is a freaking powerhouse of an agent. You absolutely want to listen to the end of this episode, is all I'll say. Uh,
Yes.
mm,
Yes. Especially, can I say if you're querying, maybe? Can I say
I
that?
think you can.
Well, good, because I just did.
Yeah, what a bad girl. Too much Christmas smut.
Bad.
Do you,
It's so bad.
do you have the bio there, my sweet
Yeah, I have the one that
Christmas
she sent.
leprechaun? Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Okay. Amanda Orozco is a senior literary agent at Transatlantic based out of Los Angeles. She graduated from NYU with her Master's of Science in Publishing, Digital and Print Media. Before joining Transatlantic, she worked in subsidiary rights at Little Brown and at Park and Fine Literary and Media. While at NYU, she interned at the National Book Foundation, Shreve Williams Public Relations, and the Gernert Company. That's it.
Oh,
And the Gernert Company.
you
And the
did
Gernert
great.
Company.
You did great.
Guys, let's welcome the amazing Amanda Orozco, literary agent, badass, genius, Latin expert, uh, all around good time.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Amanda. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Nice to meet you, Melanie and Angela.
Nice
Wonderful
to
to meet
meet
you. I
you.
love the books behind you. You've got
Oh,
good,
thanks.
good looking stacks over there.
Thanks. Yeah. Wall to ceiling books over here.
Yeah, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with all the books. That's yeah.
It's quite
Happy to hear it.
dazzling when it comes on screen.
Thanks. Yeah, I made sure to zoom out so that you could see it. Sometimes most of the time I'm zoomed in so that it's not too distracting, but I figured this was the time and place.
Yeah, oh
Yeah,
my, that's
absolutely.
smart. Like, honestly, I'm just like, put your book front and center when you come on the podcast or any book you want people to like have a little look at. So I love to see it. And I love to see you here today. We can't wait. Our agent episodes are always fan favorites. Our listeners love hearing from you guys. And yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for joining us. Let's just get like right into it. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm a Pisces, Sun, Capricorn Moon, Capricorn Rising. Don't know exactly what that means, but I've heard it's good, depending on how you feel about water signs. I love swimming. I hate running. I make my own bread, and I have a almost 3-year-old dog named Batwing, and I love him dearly. He's a pit bull mix. Has little socks on his feet, and yeah, he's just such a sweetie. And yeah, what else can I say? I've been with the Transatlantic agency for almost 5 years now, but have been in publishing since 2017. Um, Before that was soul searching and figuring out what I wanted to do, working as like a fine art instructor for like a private art studio. Um, was going to go into the medical fields and decided, you know what, I want to do something that is less financially secure and stable, but something I'm more passionate about. And
Slay.
so I went into books.
That is
Love
an
that.
underrated answer these days, honestly. Like, I feel like soul searching years should be just like critical, you know? Like, I really appreciate people who like share that as part of their journey because I think, especially, like, there's so much pressure on kids, especially to like know exactly what I know, like, I had that pressure growing up to just know exactly what you have to do and where you're going to go. But it's like, dude, you're still a child. Like, it's okay if you don't know that, like, you want to be a doctor or you want to be, a horticulturist or whatever it is. Like, yeah, we soul searching years is like critical.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm a big proponent of also like working after or even during your undergrad experience because I think having jobs in the real world it helps you figure out like, oh, I do like this and I don't like this, and these are my strengths, these are not my strengths. I'm very glad I didn't end up going into the medical field because I think I am actually a little squeamish. So it probably wouldn't have been great.
Wouldn't have ended up well. That's hilarious. No, I honestly, I relate so hard because I don't think I didn't find writing until I was in my 30s. I didn't even know it was a thing I could do until then. And so, yeah, it's interesting to like, you go through your life thinking, your path is one way, and then you pivot and you realize, oh my gosh, this is what I was meant to do. Like, this is it.
And you're so
Um,
right about the work experience. It's like absolutely critical. Like I thought I wanted to be a veterinary nurse, and then I did like a week of prac at a veterinary clinic, and I nearly passed out when they cut a tumor off a dog, and I was like,
Oh,
it's probably not for you. Like, and every day was just like physically painful to me. I was like, I think I want to hug the animals, not operate on them, you know? And I wouldn't have learned that. I might have pursued the whole thing and then realized I was also squeamish of blood, in particularly with animals.
yeah.
we don't
Oh.
need that. We don't love that. We don't love that.
No.
Okay, I want to ask the question, and we had talked about this a little bit in emails. What is the strangest thing you own?
Yeah, so I've been racking my brain because it's funny. I was just like, strange is relative, like I don't think anything I own is all that strange, but it might just be me and I might just be a strange person. I came up with two different things. I hope it's okay that I share two.
Yeah.
Please.
Um, One is this, and I mean strange in the best way. Um, One of my clients got me like a replica of the sword Sting from Lord of the Rings. It's like a handmade replica and it's like an actual sword. And it has like the inscription and everything. I feel like I'm doing show and tell here.
That's literally why
But
we do this, because we
yeah,
still live for show and tell at almost 40. Let's be real. Like,
it's the best part of,
yeah.
any class or any get to know you type of situation. But yeah, I don't think it's strange because it's the author of Magical Realism, where she writes a lot about fantasy and Lord of the Rings and kind of race and there's a lot that she covers in the book. But yeah, she gifted it to me on the day of her book launch, and it was just really sweet. So that's one. And then this other one also I don't think is strange, but it is this huge tome of the Oxford Classical Dictionary,
Nice.
which like I don't think I've actually ever opened or used, but its its provenance is like significant to me because I was a big nerd in high school and studied Latin all 4 years as my foreign language requirement, and it was the like gift that you get if you get summa cum laude on the national Latin exam that we had to take every year, which is like so nerdy, but it was my main goal to like get summa cum laude and be able to get this dictionary because it was something like our teacher did every year um, for those that reach that level. So, yeah, those are my two strangest things.
That is impressive. Okay, so you are smart, smart. That is the coolest thing to hear. I'm intimidated just seeing the girth of that book. That's amazing. And also, I feel like I need to step up my game with my literary agent. Like I didn't give her personalized swords. I need to work on this.
Oh
I
Step
need
it
to
up.
step up my
gosh.
game. So I need to step it
No,
up.
it's like a one of a kind type of gift, but yeah, just really special and I think, um yeah, anything you can do to like um share in what you've created together with your agent is just it's really cool to get to celebrate together.
That's beautiful. Okay, I'll step up my game, putting it on the mental list. What is something you think about way too often?
Oh gosh. I was trying to think of an answer to this. I I don't know if there's any one thing I think about way too often, but I do always wonder anytime I eat corn, why we eat corn because we can't digest the like kernels of it. And like, I don't know if there's a whole lot of nutritional value to the corn itself. Like, it's tasty and like also, we use it for a lot of other things like for oil and stuff. But yeah, I guess I just always think about like what made us like want to start eating this and why why can't our body digest it like at this time? Like why haven't we evolved to figure out a way to
Mm.
digest it?
That's
I'm
valid.
obsessed. Yeah, I'm obsessed with this answer. It's one of the most interesting and like weirdly, I super agree. Especially over there. There's like corn syrup in everything I've got from Angela from America. And I'm just
We love our corn. We love our corn.
it's a great answer.
Truly.
Well, now
So
that we know
freaking
a
funny.
little bit about you, I want to know what made you want to become a literary agent.
Yeah, it's a good question. And honestly, I went into publishing wanting to become an editor. So, moved to New York and was dead set on becoming an editor at one of the big five publishing houses. And I think I was pretty set on that for a few years. But it was during one of my internships at a literary agency, the Gernert Company, where I got to see what agents do. And I had never really even seen or been exposed to that side of the desk. And the agents I got to see in action and learn from and help support as an intern were all just so smart and cool. And I thought, like, wow, they get to work so closely with their clients and they have such a unique relationship with these authors um, that when I did my foray into the publishing side and saw how detached a lot of the editorial department, but also just most of the publishing house people on that side of the machine, they don't get as much contact or connection with the author, and it's so much more business oriented and less creative. I think having seen that and also seen how much editors do when it comes to project management and administrative work beyond just like their job isn't just editing. Like most people like I used to think
Mhm.
naively, like that they don't just like get to sit at their desk and with a red pen and like mark up papers, but like they're doing so much to shepherd multiple projects through the publication process at a time that I just realized, you know what, I want to be more collaborative and creative. I want to be a little bit more on the front lines with the content creators and the writers and get to, be the one to champion and advocate for the projects that I love and that like as a reader I enjoy, but that I don't think get their due or don't get the attention they deserve. So yeah, that's the main part of it. And yeah, that's still what like I enjoy so much about this job.
Very cool. This isn't on our questions, but were you, I'd imagine growing up, were you a big reader? And was that like kind of what like pushed you towards, thinking about being an editor in the first place?
Yeah, yeah, I was a huge reader, um, read a ton, and read also, I always was trying to read above my reading level, first for like the points that, you know, the reading programs would give us so that we could get the prize at the end. And so I'd always choose like the longest books and whatever, the like most advanced books and then I like just tried to start reading the classical stuff before, I really understood what was happening. But yeah, I actually didn't even know editing was a job until after graduating UCLA, and I just found a friend of a friend who was looking for a freelance editor just by happenstance. And I was like, well, I have an English minor. I think I could do it. Like, I'm pretty good at grammar from my Latin years, because we had that hammered into us. And I was like, yeah, I think I could do it. And I just had a great experience, like editing her short stories and was like, huh, I wonder if this is something that people do. And just went on that rabbit hole, found out about publishing on the other side of the country. I was like, okay, I guess I have to move to New York.
Gives you a
Wow.
good excuse, yeah, to head over to the East Coast. I freaking love that, and it feels like I would imagine like being able to edit and be in that like in the thick of a project really translates so well into being an agent because I feel like for many agents, they're right there with you, helping you and helping you dig into your project. Do you feel like that's part of your like what makes you such a great agent?
Oh, thank you. Well, I think every agent has a different style and approach. There are some that are much more hands-on editorially, and others that, that's not their strength, and that's okay. But like they bring so much else to the table. And I think it's just one of those things where it depends on, as an author, what you're looking for and what your needs are for a project. But yeah, I will say it is helpful to like have that muscle and be able to really get into a manuscript and I think provide that first read or maybe not first read if an author is getting critiques from writing partners and workshops and beta readers, but from a marketing perspective, the agent is the one who is seeing it before editors, seeing it before publishers, seeing it before it goes on submission, so really kind of providing that feedback with the reader in mind, reader as like consumer and like how are they going to experience this story and where are, you know, the confusing parts or the parts that are lagging or the parts that maybe aren't necessary that, um, make the story less impactful. Like I think there's a lot with that structural developmental edit that agents provide a unique unique sense of because we read so much and like we see what works and we see what's out there and we kind of have a sense of what editors are looking for. Um, so yeah, I guess that is a strength of mine that I enjoy, but it is also time consuming. So I very much feel for the editors in terms of like having three jobs to do and then having to go home and like edit a manuscript or a few.
Yes, I can only imagine how much you all are reading every day.
Literally. Well, that's a good, I mean, honest, that's a good question to ask. Like, because you do read so much, what makes manuscripts stand out, at least to you?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think I get really hooked when I can see a writer's confidence on the page, and when it comes to their craft. Things that kind of show that maybe they're not as confident in or far along in kind of their craft development is like usage of adverbs, like lots of adjectives. Those are like some of the things that I will notice right away because while I used to be like, adverbs aren't that bad, my mind has since changed because when after reading Alexander Chee's How to Write an Autobiographical Novel, he has an essay where he does talk about how, like, usually if you're using an adverb, there's a more precise verb that you can use. So instead of using two words, you can be using one, but it's just a matter of knowing and finding what that word is, what the verb is that you are trying to use to make your writing more streamlined and effective. And so, yeah, I think that's something that stands out to me right away. And I can usually spot that pretty early on when reading a query sample. And I'll say voice too. Like, voice is really hard to manufacture. So when it's something that feels really original, even if it's like the writing itself is kind of raw, but there's like an energy and a propulsiveness to the voice, I think that will immediately draw me in. And, you know, there's always going to be copy edited mistakes, spelling and grammar mistakes, but if you can really see beyond that and kind of get a sense of I feel immersed and I'm in the story within like the first few paragraphs, that's really special.
I love that so much. And I love that I haven't heard anyone say that about the confidence that you can hear, like when there's confidence in the writing piece that stands out to you. I really love that because it kind of like zones in more on like what is it about voice that stands out. So yeah, I love that. What about stuff that like like we know too many no adverbs. I love that tidbit as well. What are some other things that would stand out in a query letter that would make you feel like the author's not ready for the next step?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, you know, red flags would be calling your book like someone's next bestseller. Like, as much as I love the, you know, envisioning of the success of your book, like to me, it's so premature. And it does to me signal, okay, like I don't know if this writer knows a whole lot about the process of publishing and what it looks like because there are no guarantees in this industry and so coming in that hot with that expectation is intimidating for an agent and it also feels like well I just perhaps have already failed and because like so few books become bestsellers, you know. um
Mm.
so that is one. Can't really think of any other red flags. I mean, beyond the obvious of like formatting stuff, you know, usage of Comic Sans and lots of colorful fonts. If an author has already kind of designed their cover for their book and they're like, this is like what my book is. And again, it kind of speaks to I don't know if this author knows like what the publication process looks like and how there is a team and like a specific designer who is trained in the art of cover design that is going to do that. You know, like if we even get to the point that a publisher picks up this book. So um, those are kind of the obvious red flags for me. But I don't know in terms of like queries themselves. I'll say maybe, if it's a high fantasy or space opera, hard sci-fi, things that I have definitely said, like on my website, like I'm not the right agent for these because I don't know them. Like I don't read them in my spare time. I've never sold a project in this genre. I don't know who the editors are that I would send this to. Like there's just, you want an agent who's familiar with the genre that you're writing in. And so if I see a query for something where I'm like, I have definitely said that I'm not the right agent for this, that is also a red flag because to me it's like, I don't think this author has kind of really taken the time to consider if, their work is right for me, because I've already said I'm not the right agent for this kind of work. But of course, there's already always exceptions. So I say that with like a little asterisk because there's always exceptions for sure.
Yeah. Do you think that it's a good idea for like querying authors to try and learn about the business like before they even really start querying? Like, I know my first adventure in querying, I was so green. I didn't know a single thing versus the second time around with a new book. And, like I had kind of been in the trenches, met a bunch of authors, learned, some tips and tricks. Like, do you think it's a good advice to hold off from querying until you feel like you understand or just go for it?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm of two minds of it because I think you learn a lot just from doing and from getting
Yeah.
out there and putting your work out there. And sometimes, um, wanting to research and learn the business like can be helpful, but it can also delay things and like maybe be used as an excuse of like, I don't want to get my stuff out there yet. Like I'm not ready. So like I think there are so many agents out there that you can just start dipping your toes in the water and really going for it and learn along the way. But I do think it's helpful to kind of constantly be connecting with other writers, both those who are also in the querying trenches, but also are established and maybe already have a book or two under their belts and have gone through the agenting process, and learn from them too in terms of like what they wish they had known, what to possibly avoid or look out for, things like that. I think you can do both simultaneously.
Mm. Would that be your advice, or do you have kind of like some advice you wish you could give authors before they start querying?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing I would say is it would help to learn, what a query letter is on a basic level and format it. I think that is kind of your first introduction to any agent that you're querying. So you want to put your best foot forward, and it's like a cover letter for a job that you're applying for. You want to show that you're professional, and enthusiastic, and you have something to bring to this working relationship and to the table, and you're giving this other person an opportunity to see it and read it and possibly be a part of this journey that you're taking off on. And um, I think that would be maybe the first place to start is, whether it's researching what a query letter, like the basic components of that is, asking people. There's a lot of workshops that, are put on by conferences and retreats and stuff like that on like, how do you write one? Um, and yeah, that's kind of the gonna be the through line for your book, is that's going to be the starting pitch for your project. And so being also able and willing to hone it in, like refine it and take maybe feedback and saying, okay, I don't feel like this is working anymore. Or maybe you have edited the project further since you first wrote it and it needs to shift, or the comp titles aren't quite hitting correctly, things like that.
I love that you mentioned comp titles because that was something I was just battling through with the project that I'm working on. And luckily, like I have friends that are writing in that genre, and my friend Jessica Para, who I know you know as well, she was like, "Here, read this, and that. I got you." And I was like, "Yes, thank you," because comps really do kind of shape that pitch, and you can fling them out there like it's this meets this. So yeah, it feels like also being like well read in the genre that you are working in is also a good idea. What I'm learning as a wannabe horror girly is to read that horror genre, which is scary. But I want to go back to like what a day in the life of a literary agent looks like for you, because I know it's probably so different for every agent, and I'm sure even daily it looks different. But take us through an average day for you.
Yeah, so it's usually, lots of emails basically throughout the day. I will grab a cup of coffee and sit at my desk and kind of for the first hour of the day be checking what emails have come in. And I'm based in LA, so also I'm usually 3 hours behind most of where publishing is, which is in New York. Um, and so I wake up to a good amount of things that just have come in, either from publishers and editors, if it has to do with like the book, going through the process of copy editing and proofreading and layouts, cover designs, like all of those kind of have specific, you know, aspects to figuring out what that's going to look like and turnaround times and needs from the client. So I will be kind of fielding those, and then on the other hand, also fielding queries from my clients, like emails that they are sending, asking various things like, what about the translation rights for this book? Or I'm thinking of this new project. What do you think? Or, can I send you a few chapters and you can read and let me know? Or I'm thinking about going into YA. I've never written a YA novel, but what do you think about this idea? And so there's a lot of that, and things that come in on the publicity and marketing side where, they're like, do you think it's a good idea? Should I like maybe go for this or sign up to do this workshop or things like that. So it's a lot of client care, and then kind of on the more logistical end, working with publishers to make sure they have everything they need from the client in order to move forward with the book's journey. Um, and then there's the fun part of all the submission emails. We as agents are usually on submission with a few projects at a time, if not a lot of projects, depending on the agent and their bandwidth and what their style is. But there's a lot too of just kind of keeping track of where are those submissions, what can I do to maybe prompt editors to read it faster, or get back to me about what they thought, like are they interested in this project or not, and then strategizing, okay, well, if we've kind of reached or we're close to reaching the end of the first round of a submission, what's next, like what are the next steps, and kind of brainstorming, are there other places to go, and where would those places be. Oftentimes I have meetings both like internally with my colleagues. At our agency, we have weekly meetings where we're able to workshop things and problem solve any issues that might come up. And it's just really, especially because we are built to be remote and we're kind of spread throughout North America, it's just a really nice touch point to have with colleagues of like, this is what's going on in my world. I got this offer. I don't think it's that good. Like, how can I negotiate it higher if I don't have anything else to use as leverage, and things like that. Or, this publisher is being, really difficult about this contractual issue. How can I, respond and fight fight against that and things like that. And then also kind of the networking aspect of we're always meeting with editors because there is so much editor turnover.
Mm.
And there's always more editors that are, starting to grow their lists. So we also want to get some face-to-face time meeting with them to get to know them as people, but also as editors and like, what are they looking for? What are they acquiring? What, yeah, what could we possibly send them and possibly pitch to them, like in a call. Um, so yeah, there's a lot that a day brings, and yeah, it's just a matter of kind of how much is in one bucket
Oh my
in a day.
gosh. There's so much in the bucket. I'm sure it's overflowing. The bucket is overflowing.
Yes,
Um,
given our time to
wow.
sit down, I might skip a few questions because it feels right to ask now. How do you avoid or manage like burning out with so much on your plate all the time?
Yeah, it's a good question and also a very timely one because I do feel like
Mm.
I have, been experiencing burnout, especially in the last few months, partially due to the state of the world and how this year has started, honestly, here, both here in LA and the US and just, worldwide. But yeah, I think there is also a point in every publishing professional's career where it does feel like you're hitting your head against a wall or there's just not like forward movement, or maybe the things that like once were so exciting when you first started have lost their luster, and you've kind of have lost their magic, and they're not enough to sustain you. And so you kind of have to find new ways to sustain yourself and in the business. And um, so I don't know if I have a good answer for how to avoid burnout. Because I'm like coming out on the other side of it already like two times over. Um, but I will say, I think um, in terms of dealing with it, being able to give ourselves permission to be like, you know what, as much as I would really love to read all of the books on my TBR, that's just not like feasible for me right now. I don't even want to read anything actually, and I'm just gonna allow myself to have a break from reading. And as sad as that is, and it's been something I've been wrestling with because it's like I love reading so much. I came into this business because I love reading, and I'm finding myself just really having to force myself to read. Um, it feels like a loss and it feels like kind of I have to grieve that. But at the same time, it's just a matter of like, you know what, it'll come back in a new way. And it's just temporary. Maybe it's just for this season. It's just where I'm at right now, and that's okay. It's not going to be a forever thing. And I think being able to find the joys again of the business and spend enough time celebrating the wins really will go a long way because they can be few and far between. Um, and, but yeah, they're also just really special. And so kind of giving yourself the chance to recognize that and bask in it for a little bit and um, yeah, just have patience with yourself in terms of like, you know what, maybe, it feels slow right now and nobody wants to acquire any of the projects I'm out on submission with. I'm sure for writers, it's like nobody's responding to my queries and it feels like I'm just sending things into the void. Um, I think really just being able to celebrate the wins of yourself and just even recognize, look, like even the fact that I went out querying, is a win. And getting to connect with other writers, like that's a win. And finding joy in like cultivating that community, like yeah, I think there's a lot of different ways to do it, but those are some of the methods I've been trying lately.
That's beautiful. Like celebrate the wins. And I think that's so good to hear. I know I needed to hear it today, actually. So thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, I see we're down to like a minute 41 left in the recording. So real quick, are you open to submissions right now? And if you are, what are you looking for?
Yeah, sorry. Also, if my answers are so long-winded that I lose
No,
track of
no,
time.
they're great. They're perfect.
Um, yeah, I am open to queries, and I have it set up where I am usually open for queries the first month of every quarter. So that's January, April, July, and October. This year is a little different. I'm not going to be open July and October, unfortunately, but I am open this month until the end of the month, the 30th, to queries in my inbox. But I'm also like open to receiving queries on off the record, but on the record, obviously, because we're recording this. Like, open to queries that are referrals either through conferences or events that I do, you know, through this podcast. If any authors listening like can't make the April deadline, but still want to query, like, as long as you mention, I'm reaching out because through this podcast, like I heard about you, like I'm happy to still read and consider, but the system I have set up is a way also for me to avoid burnout and to avoid the overwhelm of like, I have 1,000 queries, I'm never gonna catch up. Like I think being able to have a start and stop and then be like give myself.
Okay, so it's yeah, like unfortunately we ran out of time. Zoom cut us off, but we're so glad we got to have Amanda and sorry, it's giving phony. I don't know. But it's really cut us off abruptly. Do you have anything you want to say to close the episode?
I don't know. That was a great episode.
Oh,
Sorry, it
live
cut us
long
off a
and
little
prosper.
short. Live long and prosper. Sorry, it cut us off a little short. We were too busy just being mesmerized by Amanda and all that she had to say. Um,
Yeah, nice.
noise, noise.